Hey everyone, after I made my last video, I realized there was a lot of questions that came back that I thought I would address on this video before I get into my next video. So if you're new to this video, I might recommend going back and watching the previous video. But I'm going to talk real quick about a couple of things, and that is what paint I use when I paint the panel, a little bit about light diffusing, and then ultimately what backlighting I've chosen to use on this. As you can see, this is the beast I'm working on, a CRJ 700, and it is currently being programmed out. You can watch my programming videos that get into FSU IPC for non-FSU IPC aircraft, and how I use Lewis scripts, LVARs, and some fun programming to make it all work. But this is a beast, guys. It is a CRJ 700, and it is a mess right now because I'm working on redoing all the panels. And as I do each panel, I'm programming it. I use the Aerosoft CRJ, and because they are actually, that's going to be their first aircraft out the gates with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. So I'm trying to, as they're developing their CRJ for 2020, I'm also integrating this aircraft into that product. So it's probably the first home-built simulator that will be fully functional that runs on Flight Simulator 2020 with the CRJ 700. So I'm hoping to be the first. So follow me on my channel, click like and subscribe, and watch as I bring this thing to life. Now today, I'm going to cover what paint I've chosen to use. Now, as I paint my panels, I like it a little bit darker gray than probably what is in the aircraft, but that's okay because sometimes you do things that you like. I think it looks better. But you can see, I'll kind of bring this down to my finish. And the paint that I've chosen to use is this Rust-Oleum. This is a gloss, and this is the actual name of it, gloss charcoal gray, and I get this at Home Depot. Now, I have struggled so many times painting these because I have a hard time getting it to lay down a perfect finish. And so I have done everything from sanding it to priming it to painting it. And what I have found is if I use a 1000 or 1500 grit sponge sander, this is a sponge sander that you can hold in your hand and just rough up the surface. It works really good. Now, that's going to, and usually I'll do like 1000 and then I'll move it to 1500. So it's really fine sand marks. And then the next thing I do is I'll spray it with this here. This is plastic adhesive promoter. And that allows me to basically, I just do a very light dust of this on there, and that allows the paint to stick real firmly to that plastic acrylic. And then I finish it off with this, and I usually put a pretty solid base on this. I'll put maybe 2 or 3 coats, but remember, each time you put a coat, it makes it a little bit rougher. So I try to do my second or third coat a little bit thicker to get a glossy shine on it. And as long as I don't have any dust or anything in the air, I end up getting just a really nice finish. This is dirty, of course, because it's dusty, but if I take that off, you can see the finish. Very, very nice. I used to purchase my panels online on Amazon, and you'll see that in a previous video. Now all I do is I just order them right from a company locally that does window glass and so forth for windows. It was less expensive, about half the price of ordering it online. And I have it pre-cut. So it's 8 by 11, so it fits right inside the laser cutter. And then that allows me to get multiple panels out of a single sheet. Okay, so what's next? We talked earlier about panels, and I want to explain one item. Hold on. Okay, I forgot about this. Before you lay your paint down, make sure you clean the surface. And if you do that and you prep it properly, you'll get a nice fine layer of paint laid down. Now, the next thing I wanted to cover real quick that I failed to do in the other video. So you have different types of acrylic. You have your white acrylic that lets 30% of the light through, and then you have your clear acrylic. And the question was asked, if I don't need the clear acrylic for mounting purposes for my screws, do I even need to use it, or can I just get a thicker white acrylic? The issue is with the K40 laser, it's going to be harder to burn through a thicker layer. This is probably the thickest you're gonna be able to burn through. So you're gonna probably still need a second layer in there. But more importantly, I would even recommend 3 layers. And the reason is you want to have your white layer on the top with a 30% translucent so the sun shines through it when it's painted. And then you're going to want a center panel, which I don't do on mine, but honestly, I probably should have, okay? But my second layer is not going to be a clear. It's going to be more of like a 50% or even 75% translucent. And the reason you do that is it'll help you diffuse the light. So as the panel has light shining through it, that you won't have burn marks on your panel where there's a hot spot where lights are behind it. You'll have an even layer, because when it hits that diffusing layer, it diffuses that light across the entire panel, and so it's going to make it where that light doesn't bleed through. In my setup, the only way that you can offset that without a diffusing panel is by setting your lights further behind the actual panel. So whether it's a few inches or even further. One of the issues that we've struggled with is what type of lighting to use to do the backlighting. And I have tried everything from LEDs to even just using light bulbs. In most airplanes, you're going to have light bulbs because it allows them to dim it. Because you can dim it and run night vision goggles when you're flying, and you won't have any burn spots in the night vision goggles. So this is actually an important topic because I struggled to find, probably after learning how to do the laser cutting and everything, the challenge I had was finding what type of lights to use. And I even tried fiber optics and soldering in individual LEDs to go over underneath each little letter. And I mean, you can get pretty extreme, but would you guess that my solution that I found was less than $10? And what it was Christmas time, and I noticed this stuff here. This is stuff you can buy on Amazon. If you look real close, they have little lights on them. And people use this for decorative stuff, to put into a jar and light a jar, or they put it on a plant or a tree to light it up. These things work awesome. And they're built in a way where they're just wires that I can just string across the back underneath my paneling. So who would have guessed that something so inexpensive could serve such an awesome purpose? And I'm able to put this on a dimmer, believe it or not, and I can dim these. And so it allows me to, and I actually run my dimmer right into my panels, and it allows me to dim these. I think they'll support 3 to 5 volts or something, but I can dim those down. And so it's an awesome solution. And I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to mount them yet, but when I do, I'll do a video on that. But I've tested this, and they have just come out beautiful. So definitely something you want to look at. This was Amazon, $10. And I've got enough of this stuff to do this entire panel. So I'll probably end up doing this entire center pedestal with one strand of it. And then I'll probably run maybe a couple of strands, dividing them up over the front glare shield, and maybe another strand for the top. So anyhow, I don't know if this has been good information for you. If it has, click the like button. Again, subscribe, check out the other information. I just know that when you guys get into this, you can spend more time trying to figure it out than you do actually building it and putting it together. And this is stuff that, little tricks and things that I've had to, that's literally taken me months, if not years, to get my head around. And I wished somebody would have made a video explaining it, but now hopefully you guys have a clear image of, or vision of, how you want to do your panel. So have fun with it, guys. Send me your pictures and post them online, or tag me in any of your posts. I'm also on Facebook. It's facebook.com/myflightdeck if you want to connect with me as well. Thanks. Bye-bye.